Do you ever wonder how things would be if vampires roamed our streets at night? What if they have their own hierarchy, laws, lore, and way of living among us? Well, you can get a taste of what that would be like in Vampire the Masquerade Swansong, a narrative RPG releasing on May 19. Hello, you gorgeous human being, it's Miss Bubbles. In today's episode of Before You Buy, I'm gonna share with you 5 things that will surely help you decide if this game is the one for you.
You're safe and you did the right thing.
I did the right thing.
Let's begin with the presentation here, and I have to say the graphics are absolutely gorgeous. You get this mysterious atmosphere that is perfect for exploring, but it also gives you chills at times. From the music to the graphics and even the sound effects, you feel like you're in this interactive thriller movie, just waiting to see what might happen next. The music even gave me goosebumps when I was just in situations that were unpredictable, and the voice acting is so well done, you feel like you're in touch with the vampires and mortals alike by connecting to how they speak and act. And to make things even more awesome, loading times were very quick, but remember, I was playing on PlayStation 5, so that might change for you. I feel like the entire bundle of this game is on point, so even when you go to look into the menu itself, it has this darker-ish vibe to it. However, one of the biggest downfalls of this game, in my opinion, is the lip syncing and the overall facial expressions of everybody in the game. It feels like the characters are saying something that is different from what you are hearing in the game, if that makes sense. And really, the facial expressions rarely match the emotion that you hear through the voice acting. I don't know, like some of the vampires and mortals as well just had this shocked reaction on their face the whole time. Their eyes are just like this. Like Leisha, I feel like the entire game she was just like this. And I'm like, girl, do you need some teardrops or something? Like, what's wrong with you? Now moving on to the story, and don't worry, I'm gonna keep it spoiler free for you. What you need to know is you have 3 different vampires that you can play as, which we will talk about a little bit later in the video. And what happens is Prince Hazel was supposed to seal some kind of deal, that rhymed, but I'm keeping things as vague as possible. However, Code Red is pulled and things start to go haywire from there. Another thing that you need to understand is the Masquerade. What does that mean? It's a conspiracy that allows vampires to exist without being exposed to the public. So this is a major law, and if a vampire breaks that code, they're gonna be in a lot of trouble. So Prince Hazel asks for 3 vampires to help her out by going to different locations to make sure that they get rid of any evidence that might point out to the existence of vampires, but also to find different members and understand what happened to them. Many of you have asked me if you need previous knowledge of the older games to play this one, and no, you don't. This is completely beginner friendly, but if you did play the previous ones, please let me know what you thought of them. I would love to get to know this franchise a little bit. Now, back to the game itself. In the menu, you can go to the codex and you learn lots of information about everything that you might feel like you don't know enough about. And in addition to that, you have something called a Boston tab, and that lets you learn about the different characters, their background stories, who their sire was, and if they have any children. In short, a sire is a vampire that turns a mortal into a vampire, and then this new vampire becomes the child of the sire through a process called embrace. And just the way I briefly explained this to you, by reading the codex, you'll understand other things, so don't worry about that. So if you're like me and you're new to this franchise, just look through the codex, read a little bit, and you will definitely understand what you need to know.
Call them back.
Now moving to the most important element of this game, and it's the 3 characters that you get to play, MM, Caleb, and Leisha. Now, as I said, you can learn a lot about them in the Boston tab, but just to give you a very brief summary of who they are, MM is this woman who has different clubs in Boston, and she rules the night with music and partying, whereas Leisha is a mother who lost lots of her memories, but she has this gift of seeing into the future, so she can help the prince to know if something bad might happen. Then you have Caleb, who comes from this royalty family back in the day, but he really doesn't like humans and he doesn't like the way they think and act, so he is a little bit weird about it, but it's very fun to discover him and see why he thinks this way. And this leads us to when Hazel calls out on the 3 characters. The big question is, what are you gonna do about this? Are you going to be loyal to Prince Hazel, or are you going to follow your own motivations, or do you have something else in mind that you want to keep tabs on? After you finish the first segment of the story, you get to choose which character you want to play next. So when you start your gameplay session, you have 4 different profiles to pick for your characters. You have the investigator, jack of all trades, veteran, or free. Each profile has a focus on different abilities, so you can kind of tailor the gameplay experience and how you want it to be. For example, an investigator helps you go undercover, extort, and steal information. However, a veteran uses the character's aura in conversations, or you can go with the free option, which has no pre-attributed points, so you can customize your character's abilities however you want them to be. I wanted to be a jack of all trades, however, Caleb, I went with the investigator side because I just felt like these fit their styles more. Now, in your character's menu, there are two sheets, a character sheet and a discipline one, and this is where the RPG element of this game comes to shine. And do you know what the first RPG element is? Well, it's you squishing that like button. If you're enjoying this video so far, maybe we can reach 100 likes this time? And if you're new here, welcome on board. I'm Miss Bubbles. If you love everything RPG, JRPG, cozy, and lifetime games, then you found the bubbliest place in the whole world, so I hope to see you again.
Need a pass to get in. There's one on his desk.
Thank you.
Back to the serious business though, let's talk about the gameplay loop because it is amazing. The basics here are doing detective work and exploring the scene where you're at, trying to complete objectives, which I will let you know about more later on. Your supernatural abilities or disciplines are used in dialogue to help you better understand what is happening. However, this all comes at a cost, and it's called hunger. When your vampire uses certain abilities, it will cost them hunger points, and if you let them starve, they will kill the closest mortal they find, and that is not a good thing because it will raise the suspicion of the public about the existence of vampires. And again, remember, there's the Masquerade, so we cannot do that. In the dialogue segment, you have different skills that you can use, and these will help you either answer questions or ask them yourself. So this kind of falls into a game where your skill level will be matched to the opponent as you see on the screen, and it will show you that, for example, your vampire has X points while the opponent has Y, and that they have, the higher points, so you're probably gonna fail this. It's kind of like the Kingdom Come Deliverance dialogue system if you played that one. You also have skills that go into, let's say, psychology of a person or trying to persuade them, which can all be upgraded after completing scenarios and gaining experience points. However, apart from managing hunger, you also have to take care of your willpower. As I said, you have a number of skills to use, but these will use your willpower, so you need to keep an eye on it. So let me give you a small example how everything might work. So Leisha can pull off the mask of 1000 faces, and that will help her memorize the look of someone and then wear their costume to go to places where she couldn't go before. Or MM can use Blink, which lets her transport from area to area which she couldn't maybe reach before. Or maybe you're trying to convince someone or ask them something that kind of appeals to their emotions, so you will use certain skills which will deplete your willpower or deplete your hunger. And this is where the game shines. It's about trying to find the balance between the willpower and the hunger and trying to keep your vampire under control. You're responsible for your characters. For example, to keep your hunger managed, you need to feed on mortals without getting any of them killed, so you can keep the world's suspicion of vampires' existence low. And let me walk you through a little bit of how the feeding system works here. When you're at any location, you need to find a safe zone and then lure a mortal to it and feed on them through a minigame, and make sure that you only feed once, otherwise they're dead, and that is not good. Now, I mentioned briefly about the objectives, but I want to talk to you a little bit more about them because this will definitely help you understand if this game is the one for you. Now, every time you go into a new scene, you have a set of objectives to complete, and what I love about this game is that you don't really have to complete all of them, but if you don't, you're gonna suffer from the consequences, and this is where your judgment needs to take place. When you leave a location, you get this overview section where the game tells you what things you have successfully done, what things you could have actually done, and sometimes you might have missed out on some things, so it will let you know about that, as well as the negative aspects of your actions. And that's why you have to be careful with the decisions that you make, the dialogue that you execute, who you talk to, and making sure you're looking into every nook and cranny is very important here. And I have to let you know, if you know me, you know I don't like puzzles, and in this game there are some puzzles that really pissed me off. Some of them I had to take a break for a day and just chill because I was gonna yeet my controller. However, I don't think you're gonna have to worry about that because by the time you get the game, you're gonna have a lot of walkthroughs, lucky you, to help you out.
My prince.
Now let's answer the question that you came to this video for. Is this game for you? Is it gonna appeal to your gameplay style? We're gonna go with this game is for you if, not for you if, in my personal verdict. This game is for you, of course, if you're into vampires and lore and would like to see like a new system of laws and a new way of storytelling in a beautifully made interactive narrative RPG. It's for you if you love detective work, going into locations and being observant. If you love dialogue systems where your choices really matter. It's for you if you love a game that really triggers your decision making. It will ask you, who will you be loyal to? Is it the system, the prince, yourself, or something else? It's for you if you love connecting with not just one character but three of them and discovering their side of the story and how each one of them views things differently. It's for you if you embrace replayability value because what you do has so many different implications on your characters as well as the story, so you have different ways to go about it. It's for you if you loved the Telltale games before but want something a little bit deeper, or if you've loved Detroit Become Human. And of course, it's for you if you're waiting for Bloodlines 2 just like I am. This scratched the itch a little bit, but I'm still waiting for Bloodlines 2. That indefinite delay does not make me happy, but let's hope we're gonna get an awesome game then. However, this game is not for you if you're expecting this to be Bloodlines 2, meaning an open world game. It's not. It's also not for you if you do not tolerate puzzles whatsoever. Trust me, some of them really got on my nerves, but again, I think like by the time you get to play this game, you have a lot of guides, so you're just gonna skip that process. And it's not for you if you get anxiety playing games like this where you need to make choices. There are a lot of decisions to make, so you can't just sit there and keep wondering what if, like no, you know, that game will take you hundreds of hours if you do so. As for my own personal verdict, this game is solid. It's exactly what I was expecting. It was amusing despite my struggle with the puzzles. I loved the intrigue through dialogue. Sometimes there's just no way for you to expect how things are gonna go, and I was just connected to the characters and felt like my morals and ethics were being questioned. I really enjoyed my time with this mysterious vibe, the atmosphere, the music, and the voice acting. We just needed a bit more emotions and everything would have been just perfect, but otherwise this was a wonderful adventure. But enough about me. I want to know, is this game what you expected it to be, and have you played any of the older Vampire the Masquerade games? Thank you to my bubbly patrons for the fantastic support and for helping me continue with this journey, and a shout out to Justin and Faye for going the extra mile. As always, remember, stay bubbly, stay positive, and I'll see your gorgeous self in the next one. Bye!